already know this is Punch Wrong Boxing, a.k.a. Mr. Won't shine himself, ladies and gentlemen. What a beautiful morning in the tri-state area, New York City. Man, we're blessed to breathe another day. Spend time with our family, spend time with our kids, spend time with a significant other. And if you don't have a significant other, I hope you're spending enough quality time with your right or left hand, whichever one works. Now, we already found out about Errol Spence fighting Garcia. That's been talked about for quite some time. You know that was going to come down the pipeline. And it's a good fight. It's a great fight. And kudos to Errol Spence. You know why? Because he's fighting a back-to-back, fight. Sean Porter, Garcia, back-to-back. Sean Porter, Garcia. Damn, that sounds familiar. Don't that sound familiar? Back-to-back, Sean Porter, Garcia. You can flip it around. It sounds actually familiar. Who did that before? I know there was a fighter that did that one before. I know there was a fighter that fought Bundu, and then Spence fought Leonard Bundu. And I know a person that fought Sean Porter and then Garcia on the back-to-back, and he gained a lot of praise, became a unified champion with that back-to-back, beating Garcia, and now Errol Spence is fought Sean Porter, split decision, hard fight, just like all the fights that Sean Porter be fighting, and now fighting Garcia. Man, I mean that's real tough. That's real hard coming from his nearly fatal accident. But give kudos to Errol Spence going back to back with elite welterweight champions. At least he gets credit for it. Anyway, so this fight is not that easy, y'all. This fight is not that easy for both men. Now, Garcia, he got power in both hands. Garcia, when he commits, he commits. Errol Spence, when he commits, he commits. When these guys are flat, when they stationary and flat-footed, they throw bombs. They throw bombs. Now, we seen Errol Spence show another wrinkle of his game. Showing a lot of angles, especially with Mikey Swift Garcia. And this fight might happen the same way, the same pace, I believe. Not the same way, but the same pace. But I believe that Garcia is going to have more pop in those hands. I like Garcia upper body movement. Not really so much of the footwork, but I believe he's gotten better after fighting Thurman. He has gotten better in upping his punch count, starting a little faster, starting a little quicker, not fall behind. And with Errol Spence, who throws high volume punches, you have to match his punch count. If Garcia doesn't match the punch count, and that's why when you see Garcia in the close fights, it's because his punch count is not up there with his opponent. So he got to start off fast versus Errol Spence. Errol Spence is going to be tested. It's going to be tested with the 8-ounce gloves that I know he's not going to be tested in sparring. Or maybe he will. I don't know. But of course, you already know he had oral surgery. Let's see how he's going to come through. How he's going to perform. I believe he's going to be the same Errol Spence. I believe it's going to be the same Errol Spence. Both of these guys almost having Garcia for a red catch, and that wasn't so much of an impressive outing for Garcia. Errol Spence, it looked like he's back in shape. He's ready to go. He told Al Heyman, I want to swim the sharks, and he's doing just that. He's doing just that. This is a 50-50 fight to me, ladies and gentlemen. I know a lot of people got Errol Spence like he's just going to walk and beat Garcia. It's not going to be easy, folks. It's not going to be easy. Garcia has been underrated for quite some time. Even when he did his thing in 140, became 147 champion, they never put that man in the pound-for-pound list, even though he has one of the most prestige resume of this era. And for the people out there that want to criticize the welterweight division, regardless, we all want to see Errol Spence versus Bud Crawford. But this is a great matchup. Everybody is fighting one another. All the top 5, top 6, whatever you want to put it, fighting one another in the welterweight division. This era is very, very good. But if your mind is going to be all stuck with Bud Crawford and Errol Spence and just down on that and not appreciate that the welterweight division, they all fighting versus one another. Y'all already know the matchup. Look, Errol Spence already fought Bud Crawford. For Sean Porter. Kell Brook when he was one of the top dudes in the welterweight division. Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, Sean Porter, Manny Pacquiao. Porter fought Ugas, fought Spence, fought Daniel Garcia. He fought everybody except for Manny Pacquiao. But I'm talking about this era except for Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford is the one that need to get in the mix. Bud Crawford is the one that get in the mix. I'm not giving no more leeway for Bud Crawford. For all the Bud Crawford fans, I love Bud Crawford. I love his technique. I love everything about Bud Crawford. Technically sound and everything. But he's not getting in the mix. And his business decisions speak louder than words. All these who in the PBC, all these welterweights are getting it on. Regardless of the fight that you want to see. Everybody's getting it on. When everybody want to talk about back in the days, like in the 80s, all these guys fought one another. Right now, all these guys are fighting one another. And remember, Bud Crawford is the last one to show up in the welterweight division. So these guys are fighting among themselves. These guys been fighting. These guys been fighting. It's going to be a tough matchup for Errol Spence. I would not be surprised if Daniel Garcia becomes unified champion of the world. I would not be surprised, ladies and gentlemen. This is a 50-50 bout. And if I'm a betting man, and I know that Daniel Garcia is going to be the underdog, I'll bet on Daniel Garcia to get some money. But later on, we're going to be breaking it down. It's probably going to be in November. Pay-per-view. It is what it is. Al Heyman was supposed to promise Daniel Garcia for a pay-per-view bout. He's going to get it. It's a good fight. It's a good fight that we know that was going to come. It's not an immediate mandatory, but it is a mandatory, but it's not an immediate one. They gave Errol Spence a voluntary bout at WBC. Let's see, man. It's going to be a good fight, y'all. It's going to be a good fight. Two guys that don't move around too much. They're going to stay in the pocket. They're going to throw with conviction. It's going to be a different fight that Daniel Garcia had with, let's say for Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman moved. He outboxed him, outmaneuver him because of footwork. I don't think that Errol Spence got that type of footwork. So you're gonna see a lot. You're gonna see bombs. You're gonna see a good fight, just like Sean Porter versus Daniel Garcia. But it's gonna be more technically. It's gonna be the punch guy. I don't think it's gonna be that high. I don't know if Errol Spence will want to commit and sit down with Daniel Garcia. Errol Spence does get hit. He's there to be hit. He's there in line to be hit. So it's gonna be a good fight. Let me know what y'all think. Leave your comment in the bottom. Let's chop it up. Love y'all. God bless, and on to the next.